Hey Bulls and Bears, what is happening? Hi, better camera today. The audio may not be so good. This camera doesn't have a separate mic input. But let's talk about what's happening. I think you'll be able to hear me and understand me pretty well. Zimbabwe is now reintroducing gold as their currency has gotten completely obliterated, inflation out of control. So this is what's going to happen globally eventually. Now the U.S. may be the last in line, and people are asking me about the price of gold and silver all the time. Why are they going down? Why are they not going up? Well, the U.S. dollar is still king. The U.S. dollar is still the world reserve currency. About 60% of all world trade is still done in U.S. dollars, but that continues to drop. Now recently, with rates rising here in the U.S., the dollar has strengthened, right? So you're going to see points where you'll see the dollar strengthen, and that causes a lot of head scratching. I thought the dollar was getting destroyed. I thought it was getting devalued. Well, yes and no. Yes, as far as the cost of living, the dollar is getting destroyed. Look at how much the dollar buys today versus what it did just 10 or 20 years ago. Look at inflation. Look at the cost of living. And if you go all the way back to when the dollar was removed from the gold standard, and if you go even further back, back to almost 100 years ago now, the dollar's lost about 97% of all of its value when you look at what it can buy. But what's happening in Zimbabwe? Zimbabwe recently suffered a 191% inflation rate. That's 1 year, folks, 191%. And that's because they completely destroyed the currency with unlimited creation of this currency, fiat currency. And they had to raise their interest rates drastically to try to fight this. Zimbabwe will start issuing gold coins as legal tender in late July. Its central bank has said the country battles to control runaway inflation that has considerably weakened the local currency. We've reported on that here through the years. Zimbabwe is one of the worst, but we're seeing other countries now fall into the same type of situation where inflation is just getting out of control. We know about Venezuela. We know about other countries that are headed that direction. We have reported on them here numerous times. Inflation more than doubled. The central bank said the gold coins would act as a store of value, were expected to reduce demand for U.S. dollars. Now, people think that that this is not going to happen eventually here in the U.S. The U.S. it will happen ultimately, and that's why I say things are on sale right now, folks. Silver is on sale below $20. That's what I'm doing. When it went up to 27, remember it skyrocketed, what, a year ago? It went up to 27, 28, $29. I said, yes, I'm scaling back on my purchases now, because when you see a huge run-up like that, in anything, when you see a chart, a price chart go like this, almost parabolic, that means it's time to take some off the table. Or if you're dollar averaging in, cost averaging in, you may want to pull back on some of that purchase. The same thing with other stock market. If you saw the stocks go like this, you knew there had to be a correction at some point. When it goes almost vertical, that is your signal to take some off the table and be very careful. And that's what I talked about here in this channel. Now with silver under $20, I'm getting back into it. I'm buying more. I scaled way back when it took a jump up because you knew there had to be some sort of correction. Nothing goes straight up, nothing goes straight down. There's always dips along the way. Now, yes, ultimately, I think silver will be part of the monetary system. We see what happened over in Russia with Russia accepting gold as payments now. We see what's happening in Zimbabwe. Sometimes things have to get really, really bad before a major transition is done with money, with the monetary system. And these people in Zimbabwe, they had to suffer for a very long time. And I'm not saying this is going to fix this overnight, because a lot of people can't even afford a single gold coin because the inflation is so outrageous. Gold is so expensive now because of the devaluation that's already taken place. Not everybody's going to be able to even afford one gold coin, and that's pretty sad. Now, other interesting part of this, the gold coin is supposed to be convertible into currency, and they're also implementing the dollar. So that's another reason why you see the dollar strengthening. People run to the dollar when times are hard, when times are tough. But not everyone in Zimbabwe feels very positive about this. Here's a quote from this article here, The Guardian. Quote, "I cannot trust the central bank to give me a coin when they hold my cash. Zimbabwe is known for policy inconsistencies, What if they wake up and say the coins are no longer tradable, unquote? So when you see these changes made, both positive and negative, people lose trust, right? When they see the banks just get bailed out, they lose trust in the financial system. They feel like the whole thing is just rigged against them, and that can make them lose trust in the whole system. But it is interesting, Zimbabwe going back to gold. Please let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Is this going to continue to spread across the globe as we see more and more countries fall under this inflationary type of collapse where prices just continue to rise? And even if we don't see any deflation, even if prices stop going up, we're still in big trouble, folks, because we're already beyond what anyone can afford. The housing market, the most unaffordable that it's ever been. Automobiles, the most unaffordable that they've ever been. Gas, the most unaffordable. Not just the price itself, but compared to incomes, just about everything you look at is the most unaffordable that it's ever been. And so even if prices stop going up, people will say, oh, look, inflation is, let's say inflation drops to 0% year over year, meaning prices this year are the same as the year prior. If that happens down the road, people will say, oh, great, no more inflation. Prices are already too high. There needs to be a drop or deflation for people to be able to begin to afford these things without taking on additional debt. On that topic, there was a recent article. The Costco CEO came out and said, oh, look, the consumer's doing fine. The consumer is strong. No problem. We're not seeing any declines in our sales in our business. The Costco CEO said that. Well, why is he saying that? Because, of course, business is going to look fine to him because most people are swiping their credit cards to go purchase things at Costco. Imagine when people hit their limit, if credit card companies cut back, if banks cut back on these credit limits, when they see these debt levels, when they see people's credit scores get obliterated, when the lines of credit get reduced, when the debt ceiling gets reduced for individuals, that's when everybody's going to wake up, including the Costco CEO that says the consumer's doing fine. Of course the consumer's looking like they're doing fine when you look at just the bottom line in sales, because people are racking up more and more debt. You take away this debt pyramid scheme, and the whole thing comes crashing down. So the Costco CEO, he's going to start seeing some declines in his sales coming up here. I think before the end of this year, we're going to see it, not just Costco. Even more retailers, we've already started to see some bad earnings report out of even Target and Walmart, and Costco's going to see some big changes too as well. So keep stacking, folks. Let me know what you think about this in Zimbabwe. Is it a sign of things to come here, including here in the U.S. at some point? I think it is, and that's why I say keep stacking. Be well, everybody. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, support this channel if you like these news updates. Bye for now. Peace.